Okay, so welcome back. So we already learned how to factor in vertex form and how to graph vertex and factored form into a parabola. But what if I gave you an equation something like this? X squared plus 5x plus 6. So what we call this is standard form, which is really hard to graph. So instead of graphing this, we want to change it to make it into a factored form so it's easier to graph and something we already know how to graph. And to have factored form, we need two brackets. So as we already know. So basically, we have to follow the rule, multiply to C, add to B. And the reason is because this is a simple factoring equation. And the reason we know it's simple factoring is because there's no coefficient in the starting. Question.
What does that rule mean, multiply to C and add to B?
So basically the rule means you have to multiply to C, which is this, and add to B, which is this. And we will get, when we get further along into this equation, we will figure out what this means. So let's start part by part. To multiply these two brackets into this, we'll start off with x squared. In order to get x squared, you have to multiply x. So basically it'll be x and x. And because this is a positive equation, we're going to make sure that both brackets are positive. Now we get to the rule, follow the rule, multiply to C, add to B. And this means to get these two numbers, you need two numbers that multiply to C, but also add to 5. And another way we can do that is trial and error. So what are some factors of 6?
6 and 1.
6 and 1.
And there's also 3 and 2.
3 and 2. So as you know, there's also vice versa, right? So you can either use 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So let's use the first one, 6 and 1, and try this out. So you're going to expand. So what's x times x?
X squared.
Plus, what's x times 1?
X.
Which is also 1x, but because there's no coefficient and or there's 1, you can just leave it as x. What's 6 times x?
6.
6x.
6x.
Plus, what's 6 times 1?
6.
6. So this equation comes out to x squared plus 7x plus 6. And this is not the right equation as this one. So you know this is not the one. So we can erase this. We can erase this. And we can start over. So now this time, we already know that it's x plus x. And because we've already tried the other one, the only one left to try, because we can cross out 6, 1, is 3 and 2. So let's try 3 and 2. What's x times x?
X squared.
What's x times 2?
2x.
What's 3 times x?
3x.
And what's 3 times 2?
6.
So here we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. And see, this equation matches this equation as well. And so now we know that this equation is right. Another way to check it is after you've taken two numbers, let's say we've taken x plus 3 and x plus 2, and you want to use algebra tiles. We can use algebra tiles to figure out if the answer is right. So we will use x plus 3 and x plus 2. Now let's try to fill this out. So we know that one big square can come here, which is x squared. We know that we can have an x here. We know we can have an x here. We can have x here, and x here. And with this space left, we can have 6. So we know in total this is x squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is right. Let's try another equation. X squared plus 4x plus 3. This is again a simple factoring method because there's no coefficient and we use the follow the rule, multiply to C, add to B. So what's the first step?
You will have to create two brackets and put x in one and x in the other.
Correct. because we're using factoring, we know it's going to be x, and addition because, or positive because the rest of the equation is also positive. What's the next step?
You have to figure out two numbers that could multiply into 3.
So we have to figure out factors that multiply to 3 as well as
4. That could add into 4.
yes. So what are some factors that add and multiply to 3?
3 and 1.
And that's it. So there's only one. So this is something that would be really easy if you get on the test because there's only one factor that adds to 3. And just check to make sure, but it's probably going to be right. So let's try 3 and 1. So so what's x times x?
X squared.
What's x times 1?
1x.
Or
X.
plus, what's 3 times x?
3x.
And what's 3 times 1?
3.
So again, x squared plus x plus 3x is 4x plus 1. And, sorry, this is supposed to be 3. Plus 3. So as you can see here, it gave you the exact same answer as up here. And again, let's try this using algebra tiles. You have x plus 3, x plus 1. You have your x squared tile, and x bar here, x, 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 and you have 3 numbers here, which gives you x squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, x plus 1, 2, 3. And this equation is the exact same as this. So basically, this is how you would take standard form, which is a simple trinomial, as we can call it, because it has no coefficient, and turn it into a factored form, like x plus 3, x plus 1, and later graph it into a parabola. Thank you.